We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies. Welcome back to Deal Junkies. We are all back in the studio in Oregon. Thank God. We've got Mike Nuss, Trevor Howard, Dane McKinney. I'm Gabe Johansson. We are going to talk to you today about something.
We're talking. I know.
Let's have a better intro than the past couple. Let's get into it.
I was listening to our episodes on the way home, and I agree with Mike when he was like, man, you guys did Napoleon Hill and Maui and you like screwed it all up. I'm like, this is good. Mike's going to rectify it. He's going to bring us back. And I listened to your episode. And I'm like, now we just made it worse.
Yeah. Hey, every time you're not on the podcast, I try to ask the person who's on who their favorite host is when they listen.
Yeah, it's you.
No, it's usually you.
Yeah, because I'm woo-woo. People love the woo-woo.
Yeah.
So I got a great story to wrap all of that in. I'll try and do it fast.
Is it going to come out of your pineal gland?
Yes.
That's all I got.
Exactly. Yes.
That's all I got out of your episode.
Because the pineal gland is the master of the universe. So this, like, literally, doesn't matter what you believe in. If you're atheist, if you believe in God or Allah or Jesus or Mother Mary or Buddha or Taoism, all it is when you're praying, you're manifesting whatever word it is you're using, you're just influencing the energy of the world in the way that you want it to influence, right? And I do believe the pineal gland is part of that, and I do believe our chakras are real, whether it's a spiritual version of it or a scientific version of those actual organs. Both, because they overlap. So here's how it all works, right? So I'll try and wrap this up. So I'm driving recently. We won't say how recent. We won't say where, because this is not a deal in escrow, but I'm driving, and this is a frequent thoroughfare I take on a regular basis, and I've had my eye on this property for a long time. And it's not the best part of town, but it's like, wow, that's just like ideal for what I do. Just ideal. Just perfect. Like, and it's in a place I could probably get it cheap enough that I could do what I do in Portland in this location. It'd be great. And so I've seen it forever. I'm driving.
It's for sale?
I'm driving.
You're saying in Salem?
Somewhere. I'm driving.
He's driving somewhere.
What street is it on?
And I look up, I'm driving and like for sale sign, old man for sale sign, almost freaking cause an accident with the bus. The bus is incoming. I slam on my brakes. I hit the glass. I think I got my signal on. I turn around the corner, go back around, and I'm like, wow, this is ideal. And then I look at it and I pull it up and I'm like, okay, old man, not local. I look up at the for sale sign. Definitely written by an old man. Definitely not a local phone number. And I could even make this a long story about a phone call I took, but we're not going to get into all that because this other deal and manifestation, which made me late because it made me late to the dog park for Max, which I had to get him around before I came here. But anyways, so I call the guy. So now I am literally, when we get off of this, I'm booking a plane ticket to go to Florida to go golf with this 90-year-old before he dies. And we're going to be closing this deal within
he's
like
golfing, but he's going to.
He lives in a golf course in Florida. He's 90. I mean, he's a 90-year-old dude.
He's working on dying.
He's a 90-year-old dude.
Yeah.
Like, so anyways,
there's alligators in Florida.
I call him. He answers. I'm, oh, this is perfect because you're obviously the owner. This is not a broker. You're obviously old. You're obviously out of state. I didn't look at the sign apparently, but anyways, we were talking, and one of the first things I said was like, man, I bought like 50 of these things. And he goes, man, I've sold like 50 of these things. I'm like, oh, great. And then I'm 90. How long you been doing this for? Well, I'm 90, somewhere between 0 and 90 years, that type of guy. And he has the terms already laid out. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them whatsoever. And this is what I kind of want to get in the story is just like the whole manifestation, everything. So a couple of the things I said on that last episode was liquidity. I got 2 more houses on the market. We were talking about what am I doing, all the projects we've bought. None of those projects not all of them did great. But when I bought Tyler out December of 23, I called Eric like, okay, this is happening. We're going to pivot our company. This is how we're going to do it. So you put that into the universe of this is how we're going to manipulate the environment around us, the action we're going to take to start changing the energy. And so we bought a lot of projects. Some of them, we got in a situation where all of them are closing at the same time. So we had 7 on the market. 5 of them are closed, 2 of them close in the next 3 weeks. But the last episode we recorded, one of the statements I said was, I need to know when we close these things, what they sell for. And I talk a lot about resources. I want to make decisions based on resources. So resources are based on how many projects do you have? What's your construction capacity? What is your financing? What is your liquidity? What's your staff bandwidth? What are all these things? And so even though a handful of these projects didn't go well, so of the 7 I'm selling, 3 of them are just bad, nasty, long-going projects. They're losses. But we're at a time where closing all that up, construction bandwidth just improved because we hired an in-house guy and finished a bunch of projects and then sold a bunch of stuff, so liquidity is coming through. And right after we got off the podcast last week, 2 offers came in, real quick closings, and now I'm in a position where I have a lot of private capital and I don't have deals. And I think I said, hey, we got verbal agreement on one. Well, that didn't happen. I was like, well, that would have been a perfect amount of capital for this one deal to just roll capital over. That didn't happen. Got a deal yesterday. Looked at that multiple offer situation. Didn't get that. That would have been perfect. That didn't happen. I have this land deal in Gresham, but the price is too small for the private capital that I need to roll over. So I've talked to him about it. He's like, yeah, well,
what's the private capital amount you have?
$500,000. So
we could use that $500,000 with you, and we have a deal that you could do with it.
Yeah, it's not going to make me happy. It's not going to do what I want to do.
Why not?
What do you want to do?
Well, and he's also a first position lender guy. He doesn't pool capital. He's a very risk averse person. So I am his borrower, and I am a first position, lower leverage.
Would you like equity?
Dude, let's not talk about this.
There's deals lined up. $2 million of equity to be made at closing.
I got just.
Your deals.
He always interrupts me. The biggest feedback I get. This goes out to the people that text me that you're gonna love this statement. Stop fucking interrupting each other. That is the biggest feedback that I get.
Except
that we need to.
Trevor likes to interrupt you with opportunity, though.
But this isn't an opportunity based on how I evaluate things. So, anyways, I've got the land deal in Gresham.
Mike doesn't like money.
I've got the land deal in Gresham. That isn't enough leverage based on this private capital.
Mm-hmm. Open your eyes. I got this deal right here for you.
No, but this is how the world works. So I'm trying to get in that you keep fucking interrupting me. Is I've put it in there that as we roll these over, I need 2 to 3 short-term projects. I want another longer. We've got this one in Gresham I want to buy, some build-to-rent. I want to get another build-to-rent project, something, couple short terms and a couple long terms. And as we failed on those short terms, which I'm not as concerned about those, this deal just happened, right? So I seal the for sale
When you
sign.
say short-term hold or short-term rental?
Development. So, no, short-term flip. So something I can get on the market and sell before the fall.
A flip versus a hold. Basically.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So long-term hold, short-term flip,
okay.
Or a development project
that just takes longer.
That takes
you
longer.
Still sell it. Sure.
Correct. Yeah. And so the Gresham one is a long-term hold, right? So I think I can actually do it as a 12-month development project and then sell it to a rental partnership. That is my plan with that project. Then this one locally came up. And it's ideal because he wants a land sale contract. He wants it. It's very simple. It doesn't require a lot of capital, but it's ideally situated. So I can use that same now that I have a solution for the $500,000 of capital, because now I can use that for both of those purchases. And both of those purchases are something that I can purchase in my development company. They're at a basis, and I have the liquidity now to do both projects at the same time. They'll both take about the same amount of time, and then I can sell them into a rental partnership. So it's a way to create midterm money on the 12-month cycle from a little development nut for doing the project, and then building long-term wealth by selling it then into the rental partnership.
Tell us more about your Salem deal and what that looks like.
Yeah, so the Gresham deal, $300,000 purchase, will probably need $50,000 to $100,000 to entitle it. So I need about $400,000 for that. Less than 400. 100's plenty. And I've already talked to him. He would probably lend the 400 on it. Doesn't want to lend all 400 on it, but he has 500. He really wants a better solution. And so now, and when I talked to him, is like, well, we have these other 2 deals, and he's used to these conversations. It's a rollover capital. If I can't pay, if I can't go from escrow to escrow, he can throw it in a short-term account to get some interest. And so we have this agreement. And so he's used to these. If stuff falls out, we make it happen. But now the next conversation is I can go to him, which is great. That 500 for 2 land deals to the same development company. Here's how we structure it. The 350 to the 400 on the one, and then this other one's just a 10% down land sale contract with no payments. He's just going to lump it into principal and the payout.
That's your Salem one?
That's the Salem one.
Wait. That dude's taking no payments on it?
Yeah, on the Salem one.
How long's your note?
No, not my private capital lender. So
you're a
I make
private cap.
payments on. The 500 I will make payments on.
No.
But the seller is willing to take accrued
Yes.
interest.
Yes.
10% down, accrued interest. till
He's 90
payoff.
years old. So again, know your audience. A deal structure, transaction.
He doesn't need the
Yeah,
payments.
but how long is that
Correct.
note?
It's 1 year. So he wants a 1 year land sale contract, and he just wants increased price. So he wants a 6% bump in price rather than interest. 'cause
And
he
is
just
this
wants-
a value add play? What is it?
Yeah, it's a cottage cluster development. That's
Okay.
exactly
you're
what it
gonna
is.
develop it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's a house that I can retain.
Bump the price 6%. Give me 10% down.
Yep.
Pay me off in a year.
Correct.
Done.
Which is the perfect
That's a
timeline.
sick deal. Good
It's
job.
a perfect timeline because there's
Did you manifest that out of your pineal gland?
absolutely. This is exactly how it happens.
Will you tell me where my pineal gland is so I can use mine too?
I manipulated the powers of this world to create a probability to align the timelines, right? This is just time is just a construct. So he is on his timeline based on his previous buyer who he's now foreclosing on, right? There's this whole timeline of things. And while this is happening, it'd be great to own that. I could do this. I've probably said this 100 times. I could do this right there. And during that entire time, someone's getting foreclosed on, right? They're all in their different... And then all those things align to the point where I almost crashed in front of a bus. I'm still alive. And then that deal solves a really good problem. It solves a problem for a lender, so he can immediately roll into escrow. So these two deals line up at the right time. He doesn't have to put money anywhere. It works out for me based on where my bandwidth is, because the best part is one of them is a remodel down here, which we need. I want one down here because we have someone down here. The other one's just entitlement. There's no construction bandwidth there at all. It's just vendors. So it's a great place to put capital. His debt service can be factored into what I need for all of this based on the deal structure. And at the end of the day, I can have 15 in Gresham and probably 5 to 6 in Salem. So 20-ish units, all from just using private capital, no money out of my pocket, and get them entitled. So then a year from now, I'm rolling those out into either construction.
So how do you manage this with your pipeline in terms of you're short on liquidity? Now we have too much liquidity. Like, this seems to me like deal flow and cash flow sort of work against each other. So you want the deals, and then, oh my gosh, I have too many deals. I don't have enough money to do the deals. Now I have too much money. So it's a delicate balance.
Yep.
So how do you and your team look at that and gauge it ongoing, so you know when it's time, like we need to really be on the hunt for deals versus let's press the pause button? In the last episode, you talked about how right now was not a great time for you to be buying, and it only took a week or two.
Right.
And now you're like, I got to do deals.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so it happens very, very quickly.
So, and I've said this before, which is Faith, you fully believe your escrows to dispose and your escrows to acquire, they line up the way they're supposed to line up. It never feels that way. Sometimes it really does. Like right now it does. But last week it didn't. So you have faith, again, the pineal gland, that they line up. But communication, right? Because I have a team. And so I have an acquisitions team, and I have a project management team, and I have a property management team. And so I have to be in communication. So like, it's really hard to say how much do I work, because my work is usually focused for a short period of time on the computer. And other than that, it's text, it's phone calls, it's voice, it's communication to leaders who dispose communication down the track, right? And so I have to know what's going on the project property management side. So how many units can they take on? Are, what the client portfolio side of it, the in-house portfolio side of it, do we need a hire there? And we clearly needed project management on the flipping side, but we also needed better asset management on our portfolio side. So part of that hiring on the development side is really so I can just be a better asset manager.
So
too.
what comes first, the bandwidth or the deals? And are you reactionary? Are you going out and building your infrastructure so that you're ready for the business when it comes?
That is the chicken or egg question. I think what I've done in the past is I stress myself with deals. So you stress the bandwidth side to then build out the bandwidth side, to then stress yourself with the deal side, to then build out this. But I've also been in a position, which is the worst position for people to get into, which is like, you feel like you have to buy something. You have to buy something. You have to buy something. That's when shit goes down. And you just don't want to do those things. For example, one of the houses I'm selling now, it was one of the first decisions I made in January of 24 was we're going to buy this. We're going to hire this contractor for the third fucking time. I'm going to fire him in a project and lose money. And now that event 15 months later is now liquidating, and it's like, that was a huge drain on resources. So knowing what not to buy. So where I'm trying to be very cognizant of, again, and now changing our ethos, our energy, our atmosphere is, communicating with our acquisitions team is, hey, it's okay, we're slowing down right now. It's okay, we're slowing down right now. We have this log jam. We need to liquidate these. But then as we're liquidating, it's, hey, we're selling this amount of condos. This amount of private liquidity is coming, capital that we need to place. Hey, we've got these flips on the market. Now we're in escrow. And so I will give them, and I create a spreadsheet of these are the private lenders and the amount of capital they have on these projects. And here's the likelihood and the probability of what will get rolled over. So then they have an idea of what's just pure cash. And then really what you do then is just use debt. So what I do now is when I have stuff built out, if I don't want to buy something, I'll just use that private liquidity to pay off hard money.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of a credit line working for you.
Yeah, exactly. So treat it like that. And so that's what I did it with this lender where we had $700,000 liquidated. I didn't have a deal. So we paid off $550 in one and $150 on another, and just a holding place to then recreate a liquidity event.
I have a question. So on your deal you're doing with your 6-unit thing, you're doing the land sales contract. You said your equity partner or your partner there likes to be a first position lender, but in this case he's
not a partner, he's just a lender.
Sorry, he likes to be a first lien lender, but
correct.
He's just giving you the down payment on
He
a
got
note.
taken advantage by Chris Bayer, dude. He is fucking conservative.
But on this deal he's not doing first lien for you. He's just giving you the 10%.
On the land sale. No, so he'll do a first lien on the one that we do own. So he'll have a $500,000 lien on the one he only wants to lend $400 on.
You'll use some of that.
You're increasing the lien amount. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. And then that capital will get appropriated to the other project.
So, and then the next piece of that deal is you have to then get it entitled and then get takeout financing within a year.
Correct.
Do you see problems with getting that entitled within a year period?
The Salem one?
Yeah.
No, because that one has a house that can be a remodel and we can structure in different ways. And I think
so
I
can get different debt.
That's
for the
so
meantime.
annoying.
Exactly.
I know exactly what house you're talking about.
Why, you like that deal?
Yeah.
Have you called on that deal?
Well, I'm just thinking of where Mike's driving, and I've called him.
Yeah.
And there's one property that's like just under an acre.
Mike wins another deal.
That would be. I should clarify. One of our clients had door knocked and also called that deal, which is why I stopped reaching out to them because I was letting our client.
Yeah, we can talk about the psyche of the owner because I think it'll be helpful for people out there.
I'm just going to say it's a good thing Trevor or Dane were not driving that bus because they would have hit you.
Yeah, we had a
just for that deal.
There was a deal junkie driving the bus.
That's so funny.
I've been doing a thing with the city of Salem where they did inspections on our apartment complex, and then the inspector's like, you have to go get this deck permitted. And then I call the inspector, like, call the permitting office, and I call the permitting office, and then I call the planning office, and the planning office says, call the permitting office, and the permitting office is like, I don't know why I told you to call me. And then they're all like, we don't know what you're supposed to do. I'm like, can I talk to the inspector again? And he's like, I don't really know what you're supposed to do. I'm like, okay, like if none of you guys know what's supposed to happen, how am I supposed to get this
and
done?
That's the whole point of entitlement is just you have to understand oversight and where oversight aligns in different areas.
It's wild,
dude. And then know what box do they need to evaluate in, communicate in their box, and on the same exact thing, which makes no sense to the other person, you have to reframe the box and communicate to them in their box and hope that they don't talk to each other and piss each other off. It's crazy.
Do you think I can just tell them, hey guys, none of you know what's happening, so I'm going to do nothing?
No, get an early assistance application meeting. So this is where wholesalers need to learn. When you're dealing off land, anytime.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Well, this is okay. Yeah, a deck. Yeah, a deck. I really wouldn't care about. Like, just it's a deck.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
When you have multiple areas that align, an early app meeting is worth its weight in gold. Yeah. So that's why developers want 60 days, 90 days of due diligence, so they can do a little due diligence. Sign up for a pre-app and get some information written down from the jurisdictions.
So I think another interesting part about what you were talking there, and like for people listening, like to learn from. So because you know what you're looking for and what a deal is, you realize deals are all over the place. Like you were just driving down the street and a deal was just there.
Absolutely. They are all over the place.
Yeah.
There is an infinite amount of deals. Timing is not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's knowing though what a deal is and what you're looking for. So another example is I have a friend, and they've done kind of deals, but they had a deal fall in their lap with their family where it's this rehab deal. They have no money needed to do it, and they couldn't piece together. Why are you laughing over here? What are you laughing about?
I have a friend.
Yes, my friend. And they couldn't piece.
I have a friend.
I have many friends.
His name's not Trevor Howard.
It's not a his.
They had this deal fall in their lap, but they couldn't piece it together because they haven't thought about deals enough. So it was literally like right there, right in front of their face. and they couldn't think through how to do it.
We haven't talked on the science side, the RAS, reticulated activated system, whatever it is. It's
I don't
that
want
little
more of
piece
this
in your brain.
nonsense stuff.
No, it's when you. This is when you think about deals and when you underwrite deals. Why do I know what I'm looking for? Because that's what I do and that's what I look for. So that's what I see, right? Like you want a red Ferrari and you go look at a red Ferrari. Guess what? Now you're going to see all the red Ferraris in town because you've activated your RAS system. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason Trevor likes your deal is high leverage, no payments for a year,
Yep.
very little risk.
Yep.
And that's a really good deal to you. To some people, they may go, I don't want that deal.
I wouldn't want that deal.
You wouldn't want that deal?
I would want that deal for us and doing Mark, but if it was just me, like I'm
doing
not,
Mark.
and having Mark do it, sorry, or Jaron
Wow.
or someone like that.
This is how you get such good
I'd want that
deals,
deal
huh?
for doing Mark.
Well, yeah, it lines perfectly for what I want to do. I've said this before. I want to create it. Like I want to have a pipeline of 50 new units under construction the next year from now. So I just added 20 to that.
That's awesome.
Potentially.
You should increase that number though.
50 to 100 is what I said.
10x
Dude,
it.
again, I want to wear shorts and be asked, am I golfing today when I show up for the podcast? I want to get a text. Are you golfing
You should
today?
figure out
And
how
I
to
want to
build-
talk to brokers yesterday. He's like, I can't talk until tomorrow. What's your tea time? What, like scheduling our calls around our tea
You
times.
should
I
figure
want
out how
that.
to do both. You're the architect of your own life, Mike. Come on.
My
Mike, he
team's-
does this all the time.
My team's not ready for
He
it,
does
Trevor.
it to me.
They will be.
Yeah, they will be. They will be.
Partially, though, will be the more you keep manifesting that.
Correct.
I want to be on the golf course, and I want units coming out of the ground automatically. You build that machine, and then you can go do whatever you want. And if
Yeah.
it's the right team, it'll happen.
I just like to look 1 year ahead. Especially when you have 16-year-old and 18-year-olds. You're like, 1 year ahead's good.
Okay,
I'm
so
not planning further than that.
So
I
that-
told Tim that yesterday at our meeting, Valor Tim. I said I'm done planning things. Things move so fast, especially
It
when you have
changes.
like a bunch of other people that you're working
Yeah.
with, and all your ideas are just kind of mingling together. Like, I can't. Plan.
When Mike was talking about how acquisitions somehow just line up with dispositions, it reminded me of Paul Curley's spiritual principle, which by the time this airs, we will have done Investor Lab, the spiritual episode.
Oh, no, you won't.
No,
We
this will
won't?
come right
no,
prior
if
to.
you want to come, it's on
This is an
Thursday.
advertisement for
Yeah, Investor Lab. If you guys want
May
to come,
8th.
Thursday, May 8th, Mike?
Yep.
Thursday, May 8th at 6 p.m. in Portland at the Evergreen. If you want to hear Gabe and Paul talk about spiritual
And Trevor.
principles and me sit there and listen to them talk,
I'm going to make him
come
cry.
check it
Let's
out.
not forget that.
So I don't know. I'll take notes and I'll make sure this is on there. But one thing that Paul always says is that he doesn't know how it happens, but somehow it just happens that when you need the money is there. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like,
No, I know.
I didn't know I was going to get this $1 million, and the next day I need $1 million for
Yeah.
something. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
he's dealing in big deals, but he's not out there like building this whole plan for when the money's going to come and go and how this is all going to work. Like I asked him once, I'm like, hey, you got all these notes. Like, how do you track and measure when they're going to come due so you can pay them off? He goes, well, I mean, when they need to be paid off, they call me. Oh, that's how you know when they need to be paid
That's a
off.
good strategy.
Like in my mind, that's kind of stressful to
Yeah.
think like,
no,
oh,
that's balance sheet bliss. That is balance sheet bliss.
it's like because I know that I'm going to run into a problem every single day, and I also know that I'm going to have the tools in my toolbox to solve that problem.
That is legitimately my future self. Like that, I love that you mentioned that because that's all I want to be. Like that's what I want to get to, which is great. Here comes $1 million payoff. Cool. Let's go. Turn on the balance sheet. Let's move it around. And then you can just go play golf and travel, and you can do what you want to do, and not have to worry about
cows
it.
is
Whatever that
you
guy
have.
does.
You have ranching.
He
in
had
your
a
future,
gun
Mike.
show or a gun tournament on his ranch or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. You have-
No, they had a horse cutting horses, or I don't know what they do. They gave away guns, 2K guns
okay.
for the prizes for the
prizes.
winners of the yeah.
Well,
Um,
again, I'm still talking to the guy with the huge ranch in Sisters. It's gonna sell. Paul needs to buy it.
I'm not buying ranches.
No, Paul needs to buy another ranch.
I'm not buying car dealerships.
Paul needs to meet this guy. That's what needs to happen.
I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
They would love each other.
I know.
Paul's gonna
I
buy
know
it.
They would love each other. I think we should all go golfing, and Paul can just drive the cart.
well, if you want to
I
come
don't know.
Friday, we can do it
Barefoot.
next Friday. We're going to Bend.
Are
And
you?
And we're taking Paul.
Yeah.
So you can
Are
add
you
that into
really?
the trip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Throw it on your calendar.
We got to pick up the boat.
Yeah.
The boat's ready. And Trevor's ready for the boat.
And Paul can't make it to Investor Lab unless these boys drive him to Bend the next morning.
Oh.
So that's what's happening.
Oh, that's
They're
right.
taking Paul to Bend.
Is Paul spending the night at your house?
No.
Wait, how do
He
we?
has a house in
How
Salem.
how is he getting?
Oh, that
back?
makes sense. He has a bunch of houses in Salem.
Yeah, we're totally off track.
Dane.
You can cut all that out, Avery.
Paul actually has the most houses in Salem. Is he spending the night at your house? Probably not. All right.
Dane, you wanted to talk about deals. You wanted to talk about a 40-unit deal you have, and then Gabe's deal.
Oh, we were talking about deal updates.
Deal updates.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you think that's worth doing on this one, or do you
Sure.
want to do it on the next one?
I don't
Let's do it
care.
on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're finally cranking on 2 deals. One deal is like at the end of its project life cycle and moving into stability.
These are deals we've already closed on.
These are deals we've closed, yeah. And so one of the deals we talked about a bunch last year, close to a full year ago when we started the project, and it should be stabilized. We thought it was going to take 12 months to stabilize it. So it's 40 units up in Astoria, outside of Astoria.
I thought it was 39. We were going to turn it into 42. What did we end
It
up
was
with?
39. We were going to turn it into 42, but then the 42 was real funky. So we just have a 4-bedroom unit. And one of the bedrooms is the
Shorter
smallest.
than Dane. Height-wise and width-wise.
It's like a dog crate.
Trevor,
Probably can't call that a bedroom.
Trevor's walking through it. There's no window or closet either.
Oh.
So we're not calling it a bedroom.
No.
But Trevor was like, "Where's the 4th
Story.
bedroom?" And Mark was like, "It's that one." And Trevor went sideways to try to like imagine laying down in it. And he was like, I don't
Maybe it's a
I
little
don't think we
office.
can I don't think we can advertise this as a bedroom. But anyways,
So we
it's-
got one more unit. We went from 39 to 40.
we went from 39 to 40.
But we thought it was going to take 12 months to go through the whole thing.
we thought it was going to take 12 months.
Where
It'll
we-
I
probably
thought we
take
thought it was going to take 2 years.
It'll probably take 12 months to. No, you thought that. It'll probably take 12 months to, because you're our conservative underwriter. It'll probably take 12 months to actually stabilize it, actually, which is great.
Wait,
How
we're-
many
we're-
months in are we right now?
We are 10 months in.
Okay.
And we're done?
We're about to be, yeah.
So we're about to finish it.
Yeah,
and-
so we'll be stabilized like end of
This
June.
is a project we took 10 units at a time, did QLRs,
Mm-hmm.
emptied them out, and did full like rehab per building or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Very worthy of
So we
QLRs.
completely re-tenanted the whole project.
Well,
Well,
actually,
no.
good note on that. Most of the tenants, so we came in and there were 8 vacancies. And then most of the tenants, we just moved from
into
one
there.
unit
Okay.
into the rent-out
Oh.
unit. So we have
So-
like, I think like half of our tenants
So you gave him a
stayed on the property.
You gave him
yeah.
a QLR, qualifying landlord reason, to terminate residency, which came with relocation, which they then
1
turned
month.
around to use as security
So-
deposits and payment on the new unit you renovated.
we probably just
actually
transferred,
pitched them.
I would
Yeah,
imagine.
we
Yeah.
told them like, hey, we can. So for anybody who could afford it, it was like, hey, this is a much nicer unit. Obviously, we want the project to look a lot better. It's still the cheapest option in Astoria. And then for people who couldn't afford it, we we had the property manager have the conversation of, hey, we can help you get on Section 8. If you actually can't afford it, then we can facilitate
Yep.
you getting on
Yep.
affordable housing. So feel good about that.
So we kept a lot of the tenants and
we
moved
kept
them
a ton of
into
them. Yeah.
newer units and got to move our rent roll up to where we wanted to move it.
Yeah. So we projected our rent roll at 48,000 a month, and it was 52,000 a month.
So
And
what is that? 1,200 a
We
unit
projected
average?
it 13 average.
13 average.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll end up getting just under 1,600 average.
So we did 300, almost 300 more
per unit.
unit
Yeah.
higher average.
Yeah.
So knocked it out of the park.
Another 12 grand on the month. Yeah.
Okay. So you think we're going to hit 60,
62,000.
62,000.
Yeah. So our rent roll right now, with like vacancies and units being turned, is at 45,000.
But we still have
And we
like
still have
10 units to
10
fill.
units to get finished. So
So
refilled.
okay, so what is that? How much did we pay for this project?
We paid
You don't remember?
$3 million. We paid $3 million for this project.
And what will it be worth when it's done?
About 7.5 to us. Whether or not we would sell it at that, I don't know. But that's based on $7.5 million at a 7 cap.
You cannot sell it for that. But
7.5
on paper.
Trevor
based on
Trevor
cap
was
rates,
thinking.
sure.
Trevor's like done a lot of listing for apartment stuff, so he's thinking from his listing apartment broker brain.
Gabe.
We definitely could.
Gabe.
Who's the taker? Who's the buyer? Who's the taker on this?
Yeah. Who is the taker? You have this freaking. It's old.
I
Right?
wanna hear
You're
it
number one
from
apartment broker.
the apartment
Yeah,
broker.
you're number one, Mr. Apartment Broker in Oregon.
Used to be.
He's
Okay.
slowing down in his old age.
But so like what is that per door? That's like freaking 180 a door for old product, small units.
Yeah,
tertiary
1% rule,
market.
baby.
It's all going to come down to cap rates and borrowing costs.
I think you got to sell it at a 7.5 cap to get it sold.
I don't think so. What sells in Oregon that's
Well,
completely renovated?
But you said it comes down to cap rates and borrowing costs, but it also comes down to liquidity. So can you get long-term debt out there?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
1% rule, like so in Portland, sweet, 1% rule, this is great. But in Astoria, you probably have to put a little bit more down. You have a little bit less leverage. Is your mate?
You
No,
could
just based
do
on-
pull out.
You're
on
just going to
agency
have
still.
fewer buyers.
You will have fewer buyers.
I
And
think
that's what
someone is
matters.
just going to see the price per door on that style of product and in their mind be limited to what they are willing to pay.
Good to clarify too, though.
Give them false photos.
There'll be fewer buyers. Have Chat GPT make them. There'll be fewer buyers, but we're not saying that the cap rate isn't going to be higher.
Does it matter? Or
We're
we
just saying
sell-
it's not going to be 7.5.
Are we selling it?
We're undecided.
No,
if you
no,
think
no,
we
no,
can
no,
sell
no,
it for
no,
seven
we're
and
not
a
selling-
half.
No, we're not selling it.
I would never sell that project. I would
No,
just.
we're not selling it.
I would just. I mean, you'll get an appraisal and you'll get a refi.
No, we
and-
don't even need to do that. It's already set up. It was already pre-appraised, and we have construction to perm with an earn-out on it.
So it's just going to cash.
How are you doing on your earnout? What have you spent? What did you have?
So we came in under budget, correct?
Of course. Mark did it.
Yeah.
You said you could do it for $1 million.
Well, we're
right?
not done. We had $1 million and we were hoping to do it for less than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the number you think we'll come in at for rehab?
Well, rehab is going to be like 700, and then there were some other things that weren't budgeted for that we ended up.
We
having
dug up
to-
a water line and broke it open, and then repaved a parking lot or
We
something.
didn't do
Or
that.
we added a parking
Somebody
lot.
did that.
Yeah.
So what's the total?
No, I think it'll probably. I think we'll be in like 850 on it.
Oh, so we did. So we did get
We'll
close
still
to
be
that
under.
million.
Yeah.
So-
but that's like that was with
That's 15%.
nothing out of
under.
pocket because we didn't have any. I mean, that,
So the 150 we didn't spend, it just does not get amortized into our loan because we didn't
We don't have to
spend
pay
it.
on
That-
it, correct?
So our total perm converts at the lower number minus
Yeah.
that.
Did we initiate that takeout financing yet, or no?
no.
So
We
so-
should spend that 150 on something else.
I was just going to say you need to grab that 150 somehow.
They said we could do a cash out if we
debt
if we were
cover, we
under.
can-
150 grand in lease up fees. Gabe likes that idea.
Yeah, I hope Adam's not listening to this.
Adam, you don't care. Maybe that's why he fired me. Oh, did I say that out loud?
he fired you as a client.
Yeah.
Mike,
We won't talk about that.
he fired a lot of clients. You weren't the only one.
Yeah, no. He had better opportunities, bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
In fact, you're probably the reason I got fired now that I put two and two together. Thanks.
He recommended you get fired.
Yeah,
yes.
so that was a great deal.
He
We
recommended
want more
it.
of those. That's our. If anybody has,
No, but so what is our rate right now? And then is it still at that 6% the whole time, or are we at a higher rate and then we locked in once we go to
our
lower?
rate on the first,
Yeah.
not the credit line, is at
like 8 or 9, 10?
6.83.
Oh, that was locked in at that,
or
Okay.
7. It's like
I thought we were higher for the first 2 years and then it converts. No,
that's on the second. The credit line's higher. Yeah, so the credit line is based on SOFR plus like 3%.
What's SOFR?
Standard
SOFR?
overnight financing
Funding rate?
funding rate. I don't know.
Mike.
These guys and his acronyms. SOFR.
That's what they told me.
It's
I don't
an
know
index.
what it stands for.
For those, that's what Gabe's. It's an index that they tie a rate to.
What's it stand for though?
That sounds
overnight-
right.
Yeah,
sounds
it's the
appropriate.
overnight funding
Standard
rate.
overnight fund. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Well, that's fine.
But I don't know what the standard overnight funding rate is. Is that the 10-year? Is that the 5-year?
Well,
Is that
that's the American overnight funding rate as opposed to LIBOR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so LIBOR is like the international one.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
So
Yeah.
have we started the process to get money back out yet, or no?
what did I? It's deja vu.
We're going to perm. What's the perm rate?
I think it'll be the initial rate. I think it was actually 7.27, and that'll be what we are able to.
This sounds wrong to me. I thought
Take
we
out
were
at.
higher on the front end, and then once we stabilize, it converts to the lower rate, but we locked it in.
I don't know. We got
then-
told a lot of things on that loan, and then we got a lot of.
I think
Anyway.
it does convert to a lower rate on perm.
Well, no, that's why I'm saying. So
And
the
then we have
credit line
takeout.
was higher, and so that's what I'm saying. I think the credit line just converts to one full
Yes.
loan, and that it's all at the lower rate.
Yes.
But the lower rate is what we have.
We
on
better
the first.
initiate that and then pull the money out before Dave leaves that bank.
Is he leaving the bank?
Everyone leaves every bank if you've talked to bankers for long enough. And then they'll call you and they'll tell you, like, hey, call you on their personal cell and be like, hey, heads up, I didn't want to be on the company phone, but I'm leaving this bank, so let's move all your loans to my new place.
This happens.
It does happen
Frequently.
They move around.
Yeah, but that project turned out. Trevor doesn't think we should sell it. Our mortgage
No,
on
we
it'll
should
be like
not.
20 grand. Our expenses on it'll probably be 15 a month, and then we'll have a rent roll of 63K. So
Cash flow.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully we'll be at.
And we love that market. I mean,
35.
we fill those units up
Oh my
fast.
goodness,
at
yeah.
higher rents.
It's
So
like-
that's a good deal.
It's like
In a year, it's a
hot
great
cakes.
deal.
It's like, I mean, but then you don't know what you're going to do with it. Do you sell it? Do you refinance?
That doesn't
it?
matter.
Do you hold
No,
it?
I think
but we have options.
Yeah,
I think we hold that
We
out.
hold it
We'll
with
hold
the
that
current
forever.
debt, wait for rates to go down, and then you maximum loan on it that you can, and you just keep on doing that. Probably
Because you can probably appraise it
And-
for what you can sell it for.
Yeah, I think it'll appraise higher.
Price it higher for what you can
So
sell
I think
it for.
on our balance sheet, it is worth more to us for the time being to hold, and then have that equity on our balance sheet and be able to tap into it with credit lines. That
Paul
to sell
never
it.
sold anything, and he has a lot of money. So
Well, he has a lot of properties.
Yeah, but he manifested out of his pineal gland.
he does have a nice pineal gland.
He does have a nice
It's
pineal
really
gland.
big.
overdeveloped pineal
He's got
gland.
everything else underdeveloped.
That's what happens when you
He's
meditate
got-
2 hours a day.
He weighs 140 pounds, and 14 of it is his pineal gland. He's got 10%
All
pineal
right.
gland.
Are you using your pineal gland to absorb your Astoria building that finished?
Yeah. That's another one we could talk about. So, Astoria Waterfront, we talked about last year, 66 unit. It's 61 beds, 3 2s and 3 3s. We've got 4 buildings there, right on the water next to Safeway in Astoria, and it is, as of today, I think we got a hold of that project last March when we took over. We had it finished by the end of September. I told Mark, whatever you do, don't hand me this October 1st. Because I don't.
September 29th?
Because from October 1st in the North Coast to like April 1st, nothing happens. Like if you're vacant on October 1, you're vacant for 6 months. That's one of the downsides to a small market, especially in a place where people don't want to go during the winter. So he followed through on his promise and did not give it to me on October 1st and said he gave it to me on September 30th. So that was great.
He's
it
a
was,
man of his word.
It was a month ahead of schedule. and
Under
it was
just
budget,
gonna
ahead
say-
of schedule.
and I will say he was ahead of schedule. It was not his fault that we got it delivered in that time because we were supposed to take control of the project January.
earlier.
Yeah.
First week of January, we took control of it in the middle of March.
My response, if I were Mark, would have been, "Oh, so you want a March delivery then? Because
we could
like
either go
September
way
30th is
long-
your best option, buddy."
Other than interest reserves, that would have been better, yes, if we would have pushed it out
Yeah.
a little farther, but
Yeah.
that was not an option. So I was scared going into lease up. Today is May 2nd. We are 100% full. I believe we're going to be. We have 3 vacant units. We have 5 applications.
Nice.
We did do concessions going in. We were able to also hit about $300 higher rent there than what we had originally budgeted for in our pro forma. So Astoria is hot. Leased it up over the winter, and we're going to knock it out of the park. That project was about $11.5 million build. Should be worth about $17 million at completion which I think we're fully stabilized now. So
like
we
9 a month during the winter. Lease up absorption rate.
lease up was about 9 9 or 10 a month. Which was really good.
Weren't you guys scared for a minute there because it wasn't leasing, or what was
For
going
the
on?
first month, was not like in October, it actually didn't go very well.
And that was due to property management, not properly advertising.
So I will say this: so we have really good property management in Astoria, Port Town property management, but nobody's built anything up there for decades. So new lease up is like a foreign concept. Nobody knows
how to do it.
Nobody's ever done it, and so I think part of the magic in this was Mark and I being asset managers on it. We had been involved in a lot of new lease up, and so we had ideas, and we had to really steer the property manager and help her to move in the right direction. And so a couple of things we did is we offered concessions on deposits. We did, whatever, $99 deposit moves you in. We went to 1 free month, because that's just kind of what you get with new product anywhere. She wasn't doing that right out of the gate. The other thing that really helped us was we actually went in and staged a unit. We brought in furniture in one unit, and we asked the leasing agent to spend 3 afternoons a week there and do open houses. So we put out a sign at the front, open house, and I bet you we picked up maybe half of our tenants just from that. So the open house idea on apartments was something kind of a foreign concept, and having a staged unit with a leasing agent on site that people could talk to a few days a week, I think really helped. And so we're looking at doing that in some of our other new lease up. You put out balloons, you do whatever you can to spread the word. It's Astoria, so everybody knew the project because it had a bad reputation for a number of years when it wasn't getting finished, and everyone's like, oh, this is an eyesore and it's not done. And so anyway, the town was really happy. Astoria was really happy to see it get completed. We're really happy that it's performing really well, and we should have $1 million in NOI on that project. 66 doors. It's not even, sounded big when we started doing it. Now it doesn't even sound that big. So we'd love to do that one.
15 grand a year of NOI per unit. Roughly 12 grand.
Yeah, something like that.
NOI per unit?
Per unit.
Oh, per unit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, it'll be
really good.
It's a great
It's a good
project.
market.
Also was a little worried about all the one beds. It was originally
That was the first thing that went in my mind when you said the one beds.
61 beds. Yeah, we were a little worried. We were heavy on ones. It was originally designed, the original developer wanted it to be short-term rentals. And so they were designed with that in mind. Every unit has view. All 66 have a view of the water, the bridge. It's a beautiful property. It's probably the nicest property that
the photos are sick. Great.
It's
great
beautiful
property.
Yeah. So we're happy.
Yeah.
Did I cover everything on that one?
Yeah, that was good.
Your interest reserve. Talk about how that works.
Oh boy.
That went good.
So we had talked about how we had to go find new financing on this project because we were in default with the original developer. So Paul and I were a minority partner coming in.
How minority were you?
We owned 0.02%.
Gabe owned 0.01. Paul owned the others.
Worst lawyer mistake, their lawyer mistake of all time.
Well, yeah. We should have not signed on to that. We had
the developers, because if you'd signed on for 50%, you would have been 50% liable. They
were 0.01, 0.02% owner and 100% liable though.
They signed on the debt.
We personally guaranteed the debt.
Yeah.
On it. Because we were going to be the end user, we had already negotiated a deal to own it. Once it was complete, we had negotiated price and everything else.
I missed that piece of it.
So the biggest risk of this project was that the original developer would fail. He wouldn't get it finished. That's what happened. COVID.
And then you had to get him out of the way.
And then we had to get, and that took 14 months to do. So by the time we got to the end of that, the original lender, we could have kept them on board, and I think that would have worked fine, but they wanted out of that loan. They wanted it off their books, and so I was able to negotiate them to waive like $660,000 in default interest right at the end of that deal, and we picked up a new lender. To find a lender that'll come in and take over a project that's half built is really, really hard to do. Once it's built, it's a lot easier and it's starting to stabilize.
Or before they break ground.
What's interesting is that lender who came in when it was a really risky deal, they saved our bacon. But once we had it built, we were running out of interest reserves and we were starting to make payments out of pocket. And these are big payments, like $80,000 a month, right? And so we're like, okay, we want to extend this loan out and build in some more interest reserves so we can get it all the way to perm. And so we needed one more bridge loan. And that original lender that we had didn't want to do it. Like they were not willing to offer any cash out. They were not willing to offer what we needed to bridge that to the next perm stage. And so we ended up finding Sean Williams at Open Door Capital Partners. He went out and got us a great loan. And we were able to bridge that, get some money back out, and have some interest reserves in there for another 3 or 4 months, so that we can, now we're already out chasing perm and looking at agency debt. And so we'll see. We were hoping rates would come down a little bit more before we got to this point, but I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be a great project either way.
Mm-hmm. Is Sean doing agency debt on that for you?
Sean can do agency debt, yeah, and he will be probably in the running, but we were working with a guy that was helping us when we were in trouble, that was working on a loan for us when we were going to make it short-term rental, and we're giving him a shot at quoting it also. So we'll have a few debt brokers chasing money on it. It'll be a real, other than the fact that it's a tertiary market, it'll be a slam dunk.
Yeah, because it's a big enough loan amount that agency will.
Yeah, they'll love it. Oh. And Paul, agency chases Paul to get him to borrow money all the time. It's the other way around.
Because you can get like 5.5 right now, right?
Yeah, it's probably more like high fives right at the moment.
Without a buy down though, or with buy down? Probably with buy down.
I would say without a buy down, your low sixes, high fives, and with a buy down, you might get down closer to 5.5. Yeah.
Are you still spending your interest reserve, or do you service the existing?
So
debt?
The way they built this one in is the interest reserve that's in there covers us for a few months, and so we are not writing checks to it. And once we get to like July or August, if we don't have perm, then we'll have to start servicing that debt again until we have the perm loan in place.
What's your existing loan amount right now?
That's a great question. I don't know exactly. It's
because I would imagine you could almost because
it's about $9 million ish.
Aren't you at like 10-12% on it probably?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you service that with $1 million in a way, or close to
11% for $9 million?
Yeah, I mean, you're saying, will the property service that debt now? Yeah, but we still want to get off of 9.
No, I know. So you're not even going through an interest reserve, would you be?
Well, just the way that it's structured.
You're just going to take that in and hold it in one reserve account while it drains out the other.
I know. I don't think you would drain anything.
In our loan, we have reserves already set aside that's already covering that payment every month. So all the cash flow for the property is going in our pocket.
Right? Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yes.
That makes more sense. Okay.
but like what Mike is saying is like one day, we have to make that payment again, but we have cash flow to cover that payment.
So talk about the process of brand new construction. You're competing with yourself, 60 units. You got to get stuff leased up. You got to throw in concessions. You've got to be bankable on the back end, and you need to be bankable relatively quickly. How do you structure those lease ups so that way it looks good on paper for the appraisal, the underwriting, and the takeout loan on the back
That's
end?
the security deposit, isn't it?
Yeah, so we did 1 month free, so an appraiser would technically remove that 1 month but they're going to see that in the last building that we filled, we took those concessions away. So they'll be able to see as we came out of winter, we did not have to do all concessions. But when you look at overall income, it is going to hurt us on our first year because we have that.
T3, probably.
It depends on what lender you're going with. Yeah, I think we'll find a lender that'll go with our rent roll and they'll be okay with it. And because our concession was very security deposit heavy, I think that weighs less on the valuation. It's just more for us like, oh, well, if somebody screws up a unit now we only have $99. What I always say is like, well, even if they screw a unit up, it's going to cost me $5 or $10,000. What's the difference between $99 and $1,000? And I have owners all the time like, no, I don't want that. I think it's one thing to say I don't want a $99 deposit because I might get bad tenants, and that makes sense. It's a whole nut, and that's if you're laxing your screening, you might end up with some really bad tenants in there. But if you're just looking at it from like, oh man, when they move out, I want to have the money to clean the unit up. Even if they move out and all you have to do is clean it and do touch up, your deposit's probably not going to cover it anyway.
Yep. Do you chase tenant when they move out and they damage the unit and you're having to do it? Do you chase that money from them?
Yeah, you can send them to collections.
Do you guys do that at SMI?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How often does it get paid or set up on payment plans?
I don't know.
Okay.
But usually we get the money. I would say majority of the time.
Yeah, because I didn't realize apparently that's really common to do, right? As a PM company, like a lot of these people will screw your unit, and you're doing $5,000, $10,000 in work. And
yeah, I mean, of course, if you're doing a $20,000 turn, that's probably not damage from a tenant. That's it needs to be updated. But you'll see turns as high as $5,000 to $10,000 that are just from damage that's done. And some of it might be normal wear and tear, and some of it might not be. It might be that they actually did the damage. And so, they've got $1,000 or $1,500 deposit, and 5 of that 10 grand is their problem. Then they owe another $3,500 that they're going to have to pay. And if they don't pay it, they'll go to collections.
We're going to have to go to collections. Trevor takes really long showers, and he stomps in our bathtub, and he cracked it. He cracked our
That
bathtub.
is not an SMI managed property.
I know, it's okay.
You cracked your bathtub?
He cracked a bathtub. Did you?
So you've got a little slow leak of water going to the people below
Heavens,
you?
no, there's no leak as far as we know. In fairness, there's no tenants under us.
Trevor does have big feet.
That can probably be repaired.
The crack in the bathtub?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some sort of fiberglass repair. Is it fiberglass?
Yeah. Yeah.
They make this thing called epoxy. It's really great.
It's pretty cracked. But whatever, dude. We'll figure it out.
How'd you crack the bathtub?
He takes really long showers.
Oh, and that will be the next episode.
You don't crack
That's
you don't crack a bathtub just because you take long showers.
I don't know what he's doing in there, but all I know
jumping
is
up and down.
He's taking texts from his phone. And he's, I got a deal. Start jumping up and down. Oh,
Getting
shit,
all
I got a
excited.
deal.
Maybe he slipped and fell in there.
yeah.
He's
I don't
not.
know.
He's
what it
being
is.
really quiet right now.
So that deal's going great. We got another deal that we talked about last month in Seaside. Really quick.
We're gonna try to rinse and repeat. Do 66
we're
more.
doing-
Wait,
we're
let's talk
doing
about this on the
round
next
2.
episode. Okay, keep it
Oh,
going.
it's gonna
Sorry.
take like 5
Okay,
seconds.
Go.
Yeah, we're getting all the dirt work done real fast. We got-
Seaside 66. This one's not all ones though. It's a better mix.
Oh, it's great.
It's mostly 2s, right?
What is it?
I don't know.
36 2s, 27 1s. It's a great mix. And so
Does that add up to?
That's 63.
And then there's some 3s.
39 2s, 27
Okay.
1s. My bad on that. So we got all the dirt work pretty much done, and then
What's dirt work?
just like all the work
Pushing
that
the
needs
dirt
to
around?
be done on the dirt,
Like
yeah.
grading?
Yeah. So the dirt, bad dirt.
What
some
about
places.
utilities? Like, do you have to bring utilities in when you do dirt work?
I hope they did that. Yeah, those guys are good though. I bet they did it. Big River, shout out Big River.
So they're digging holes and running pipes and laying
Yeah.
gravel and
Yeah.
grading.
Our
and-
foundations board.
One of our foundations is poured. We have the framing going up, and trusses are coming in next week.
That's
a great
crazy.
spot to
So
get
we're
to.
vertical.
We're vertical. We're
Once
gonna have
you get the
trusses on
concrete
next
in-
week.
Yeah, once framing goes up, then your unknowns are pretty gone. Your unforeseens are pretty done.
So we have one foundation poured. We're about to get the second. We're getting the second foundation.
How many
poured
buildings
next
are
week
there?
as well?
2?
It's a total of 5.
5
I
buildings.
thought there
Yeah.
were 6 buildings.
It's a total of 6 buildings.
6?
No, it's 5. Sorry,
Oh.
you're wrong. Yeah.
You can put 5 buildings on that?
We have we can put 5 buildings on it.
So the
I
buildings
don't
are
know.
a
It
little
doesn't
smaller.
seem
than
that
it.
big, but
It seems small.
I know.
Is
I
it
don't
2
know.
acres? What is it?
It's 1.89 acres.
Huh.
Yeah.
Sits right on the Nakanicum River.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be able to see the ocean at all from the top level?
Trevor probably would. I wouldn't be able to though. Yeah.
Because he can crack bathtubs and you can't.
Yeah, Trevor, when he jumps in the bathtub, he'll be able,
You'll be able to see the ocean?
Yeah,
They
he's
built a
tall
little
guy.
window just for Trevor.
Only from Trevor's unit.
Sistered the joists under that one tub.
You're still water view though because you're sitting on the river. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
no, it's
right
honestly better because you're further from all the loud crashing waves and stuff.
I'm gonna go camp
You
out
just
on
have
that
a
property.
calm,
Be a squatter.
peaceful river. You'd love it. We'll give you a unit when we get
Oh,
open.
give me a unit.
You'd
So,
be a-
so kind.
there. So what's the build timeline on this?
So we projected 15 months. That's what we baked into all of our assumptions for returns as well as to the lender.
Wait a second.
But-
when do we start?
We started
In
3 weeks
April?
ago.
We started
April?
start of April.
So
Yeah.
April and then
Mhm.
May, June,
But-
July.
Yes.
So you're going to try to give it
No,
in
no.
August?
No,
or July?
no. We're going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you May 1st of next year.
May?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Maybe a little earlier even. So there's some incentives for us to get it done in 12 months, and I
You think
I
you'll
trust
get it
the
done?
man in place to do it.
All right.
Yeah. They're pretty good about. He's fast. He's about. He's
Well, I drove up there with Paul just to look at it the other day, and
Mhm.
we got out of the car, and they had put up all the forms to lay that first foundation,
Mhm.
and they were like, Dane Lund, who's our partner, and he's also the head wizard on that project.
Mhm.
He comes over and he's like, nobody does this, and I was like, what? He's like, they put up the forms for this in 2 days. 2 days. They did the dirt work and put up the forms in 2 days for the first building.
They're good.
You can't. You almost
No.
can't even do that on a house.
No, they're good. Yeah, they're quick.
So all right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
And
have a project.
His brother's the concrete guy.
Yeah.
And his brother's.
Yeah.
His brother's.
Oh, they were rocking and rolling.
No, he's a magician.
There were more people on site doing that than there ever were at Astoria Waterfront before we took over.
Oh yeah. I bet you could honestly catch Hans too. His name's Hans. No, his name's Hans. We call him Hans. He's a concrete guy though. You could
Just
catch
making
that
friends
guy.
and having fun over here.
You could catch that guy. You could catch that guy doing concrete work at like 2 a.m. But I just love it.
Wow.
It's just my favorite thing to do.
Just
Which is
geeks
how
out
it's
on
getting done
concrete.
so quick. Yeah.
All right.
So
Well, he's a partner too.
there is some incentive there.
See, there's
Yeah.
a way you structure your capital stack in such a way that your project somehow just moves faster.
We have 12 of the partners on that deal are involved in getting the project done.
I
Some
like
good
that.
incentives
Yeah.
alignment.
Well, I guess technically 8 if you're saying subcontractors.
Cool.
With 8 subs. that
What's
are-
this project going to be called?
This project is going to be called River Run.
River Run.
River Run Apartments.
All right.
Yeah. So we have River Grove, River Run,
Okay.
and we had another one.
I think we have another river.
We're,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we like river
We
names.
changed it though. Yeah,
Okay.
because it got confusing.
Cool. Well, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Mike fell asleep on that one. He doesn't like Dane's story.
I can only handle so many of these stories.
Mike wants to talk.
My neurodivergence coming through.
How much? What's it going to cost to build that one?
Well, I'm hoping like $12 million.
12-ish.
13.5 all
And
in cost.
you think
with
it'll be worth more or less than Astoria Waterfront when it's done?
Oh, more.
more?
Yeah,
more
more
because of the
twos.
higher rents from the twos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew, we're getting really good rents in the twos in Astoria.
Yeah, I think our NOI is like 100,000 more than Waterfront's.
Okay.
So,
Sweet.
yeah.
All right, guys, Deal Junkies. We are Deal Junkies. You're Deal Junkies. We hope you're having fun listening to this. We are actually out doing deals. What did you talk about? I heard you guys talking about how the teachers, you said Napoleon Hill said the teachers didn't actually ever go out and do anything. They weren't-
Professors.
Oh, the professors.
Professors are different than teachers.
Okay.
They
The professors. they just
Professors have a
profess.
classroom.
They profess to know, but they
Yeah.
haven't done it.
Mentors and teachers don't have classrooms.
All right. So hopefully we're being your mentors and your teachers, helping you do deals and think about deals in a different way. We love you guys. We hope you're enjoying the podcast. Please share us, subscribe, and we will see you next time.